not many people want to put themselves through that.
Yeah.
If you can do that in the gym, then you start applying that to things in work, and your work ethic and all that changes. And that's a mental strength thing.
Tony Doherty here for the Relentless Momentum interview podcast series, and pleased to say my guest today is a good mate of mine, Jon Davie, who was a professional bodybuilder. We go back about, I think 30 years, and was with Jon all through his bodybuilding career, and then he created the World Gym brand in Australia, which has gone on to become, a juggernaut, an absolute monster. So we're going to talk about that and find out how we got here. Good to see you, Jon.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, mate, it's great. When I started this, I've got to get you on. You need to tell your story, and that's what this has all been all about, is just getting people to tell their story. So let's go back to the start. You grew up in New Zealand?
Yeah, I grew up in New Zealand.
What city?
I was in Auckland.
Yeah, Auckland?
Originally, I moved from South Island. We moved up to Auckland pretty early, and I was in an area called Pakuranga, which was kind of a, West Sydney style kind of area, pretty rugged. But I had good parents, had great parents. Just as got into a bit of trouble early on. And
when did you start lifting weights?
Actually, I got first introduced. There's a place called the Drop-In, which is like a...
The what?
It's called the Drop-In.
Drop-In?
Yeah. It was like a community hall, and it was for kids that were on the street or just trying to keep kids off the street, run by the police and a church group, and you just go in there and there'd be a pool table tennis, and there was a weight set. And I went in Friday night, I was 12, 13, and started lifting weights. And that was it, man. I started doing it every week, every Friday, Saturday night. After 4 or 5 months, I was hooked. It's the only thing that I want to do when I went there.
And were you a big kid?
Nah, man, I was small.
You were skinny?
Yeah, I was 6 foot and 70 kilos.
No way.
When I started, yeah.
And when did you do your first show? How old were you then?
I competed as a junior, 18. It was
18. And I remember, I know how much you weighed because it stuck with me when you told me. You like 105 kilos or something?
It was 105, but
in your first show?
I should have been about 90.
Oh, you were a bit tubby?
I was a bit tubby, yeah. I got beaten by a guy 27 kilos lighter than me.
Did you really?
Yeah, so
18?
but I deserved to get beaten.
But you one of those guys with big, thick bones and wrists, and I've never known. I can't imagine you at 70 kilos. I can't imagine you at 100 kilos. So
Yeah.
As long as I've known you, you've been thick. You got that.
Yeah, my old man never trained, and he was 102 kilos.
Really?
And when he died, he was like in his 90s, as in 90 kilos. So, yeah,
No.
just thick bones.
Yeah, you've always been that way. So, did you pick weights or weights picked you?
I think weights picked me at the time. I kind of my parents had split up, 12, 13. Dad had left. I was hanging around with the wrong guys. You know what it's like, getting into a bit of trouble, and I was kind of lost confidence in myself. And I think weights kind of brought back that confidence. Just going that twice a week kind of gave me drive and cleaned up my week so that I'd get better on the weekends. I'd go into the Drop-In, of all places, because there weren't many gyms around back there in Auckland. And that's where that started. And then I got put into, I had to go to Mount Albert Grammar, which is a boarding school. I got into a bit of trouble again, and I got put into a boarding school, and that was a rude awakening, man. Like, go from a public system, which is pretty lax, to a really strict system. But, you're surrounded with kids that really trying to do well, trying to achieve, do well at school and do well in sport, and they wanted to play rugby, and so I started playing rugby, and that's when the minister from the Drop-In actually found out I'd been put into the school. He came to the school and said, look, I want to give this gym membership to Jon. So he'd gone out of his way to track me down and give this gym membership. So that's when I met the first, what I call a gym mentor, which was I went to a gym called Healthlands in Auckland, and that was Tony Martin.
Right.
And
and how old were you then?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Changed your life?
Overnight, mate.
But you haven't stopped. I know you still train whenever you're here, no matter how much you travel with your gyms and health clubs, everything else, you still find time to train. She's like, we'll be setting up a venue and we're going to go train now. Never left you.
Yeah, I think once it gets into your blood and it becomes a part of you, it's very hard to, you don't want to get it out of your blood. So I started with Tony. He lived on top of the gym, a bit like your story, which will come after that. But he lived on top of the gym, and charismatic guy, bodybuilder, well known, Everyone loved him.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, man, I was in awe of him. Like, you know, he had this business that people love going to. And I got a job there. That was my first job. And I used to work from 10 at night till 6 in the morning. And then I'd go to Unitec from 8:30 in the morning till 4 and sleep for 5 hours. And I did that for 3 years.
Did you really?
Lived on top of the gym. Yeah.
And that was in Auckland.
That was in Auckland.
So how old were you? Well, how did you end up moving to Australia?
Well,
Like most Kiwis do, to be fair.
yeah.
It's a rite of passage.
I kind of came for a 19th birthday, decided to go for a holiday. And I turned up to the Gold Coast, man, and like within a week I knew I'd never go back.
Yep.
You know, the country was, New Zealand was tough, a beautiful country, great people, love the culture, but it was tough, man. Like, you know, my rent, I get paid $190 a week and my rent was $160 back in New Zealand.
Wow.
So, you know, you just had to do 2 or 3 jobs. So it was always a struggle. But when I came to Australia, I got 2 jobs straight away, and they were better paid. I was living in a $200 a week apartment. With
What
2
sort of
bedrooms.
jobs?
I was surveying, so that was what I qualified for.
Oh, really?
Surveyor, yeah. So I got a surveying job, and then I was doing bouncing, you know, obviously.
Yep.
We've all done
We've
that.
done that.
Yeah, so that was that. Then the second person I met was actually you. That kind of became, you know, I saw someone that was doing something that I really wanted to do, because then I was working for Musashi doing supplements, and I came down, I think it was in 92, 93.
And were you living in Gold Coast then or Adelaide?
I was in Gold Coast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember you coming down. You were like an ambassador and rep for Musashi, up and coming bodybuilder. You still hadn't won the Australia.
Hadn't won the Australia, no.
We clicked straight away. So that's like 30 years ago, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And, I vividly remember going into the gym again, you know, Guy, met you, Guy owns this gym, everyone loves him because it's a community. You're living on top of the gym, you know, Sonny Smith was there, like chowing down.
I reckon it was 94, because that's when
94.
I opened that gym in early 94, so I reckon it was about then, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that was the second person I met that I looked at and thought, that's who I want to be.
Me?
You and, well, Tony Martin and you, yeah.
Wow, that's
because
cool.
It was kind of, you know, it was just how do I get there? That was the next step.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was broke and had no money.
Well, I was too at the time, you know. That's why I was living up. I was living on top of the. There was a vault there that we had a boxing ring in. It was a concrete vault. I think the guy that owned the building had been a distributor for lenses or something. So it was like a vault that they locked their expensive optical stuff in.
Yeah.
And it didn't make it all the way to the roof. It was only like 6 feet from the top of that to the roof. And I had a bunk up there. And I just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was pretty
everyone
basic.
knows that story. It's very basic, but that's what it took. I'm like, I'll just hang here until I can afford to rent a shithole.
Yeah.
And that'll be a step up from this.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, I think that's how a lot of us started, right?
Yeah, man. And Musashi, I mean, at that time, you know, I was promoting the shows. Obviously, we didn't have the power of the Pro League or the IFBB, so I was working under the Grahams, you know, reluctantly for a long time. I think when you and I first started talking about, shit, I wish we get hold of this one day and make it right. And we'll get to that because we have. But I just remember you being that, you know, this big guy, big super heavyweight guy that was, you know, the face of Musashi. And Musashi was a juggernaut back then.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Man, they were huge.
It was, and they were really into it. What I liked about Musashi is they were doing a lot with teams, as you know. I think one year we had 15 sporting teams.
Yeah, well, I
AFL,
remember
NRL.
they came out with the AFL. I think it was like Essendon, Carlton, Richmond, with amino acids.
Yeah.
It was free-form amino acids.
Yeah.
And no one had ever heard of them until Tim
Bought them out.
bought them out and introduced BCAEs. And I don't think they're anywhere else in the world.
Had them, no.
I remember those little tubs.
Yeah, the little
The yellow one, the grey one with the Japanese names, and they all tasted like arse. It was but you didn't have to mix them. Really, you just
Stick them on your tongue and
chew them
swallow
on
it.
the tongue, dry hump them, and down they'd go. And and we got great results. I remember when I had my gym in Bendigo, I was buying Musashi stuff, and you know, a lot of natural bodybuilding then. I mean, just take this, and you see guys just recover better and grow. And he was so far ahead of the game. Yeah,
Yeah, it was. If you look at some of his products that he put out, you know, right at the very beginning, they're still relevant now. They're the main selling products: branched chain amino acids, essential amino acids, creatine, glutamine, those kind of products are still the mainstream supplements. You know, and he brought them out 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Insane. And it's funny, sometimes I use that as an example of a company that started in bodybuilding and sport, and really dug their roots deep. They sponsored all the shows. They looked after all the best bodybuilders. And then when he sold it, was it Nestle? Bought it, a big company?
Yeah, that was a pretty disappointing time.
It was for you
everyone's
guys,
life.
but also for the sport, because I'm like, I remember pleading with them. Remember where you've come from, because no, we're going mainstream. We're going to do ads on the back of buses instead of coming to bodybuilding shows. I go, look, no, we're not a bodybuilding brand. We want to be mainstream. And I'd plead with them, say, yeah, but normal people go to the gym and ask the bodybuilders what they should take for recovery and energy, and they all say Musashi.
Yeah.
And someone else will take your spot, and they just want to. We'll talk to our marketing team. I remember I went to meet with their marketing team. And they're all about 17 years old with these flash new computers, and
That all come from. I remember getting introduced to the marketing team. One girl was from baked beans. She'd been moved over from marketing team in a baked beans company, and someone had come from Paul's Ice Cream. I'm like, you're in a supplement company. Like, they're completely different types of products.
world. Yeah.
But yeah, I think with Tim would kind of lead. Tim would aim a product at an elite athlete, knowing that everyone would aspire to be an elite athlete, and therefore they'd want that product.
Yeah.
Whereas Nestle's attitude was, we're a mainstream product, so we're just going to put a mainstream product. But you lose all the elite people and the serious people, because no one wants to have a shit product.
Yeah. Right. And then another company steps up and sponsors them, takes that space. And, when we did, there was a few companies, we do the expos and stuff, and say, I don't need to be there anymore. Go, but it's not about meeting new customers. It's about seeing your customers, giving them a hug, thanking them for their loyalty, and making sure they're not going and tasting someone else's free shit. Because if they go to one company and something tastes good, mixes well, they're never going to buy yours again. And look at how their market share dropped. Like there's been a couple of companies like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty rough time, because like I've been with them for 15. I was with Musashi for 10 years before Nestle bought it. 15 years in total. And I watched Tim grow the brand and he was very passionate about his product, and it didn't destroy him, but it hurt him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It really hurt him when they did what they did, and they went mainstream with it. And mainly supermarkets, because Nestle dominate the supermarkets. So we lost our market share, and all the retail supplement stores didn't want us. The health food stores
gyms
didn't want us. The gyms didn't want us.
Yeah.
So I remember, because I had a distribution side of Musashi in Queensland. It was the first business I had. And out of my top 50, which is 80% of my business, 4 years after Nestle took it over, there's only five of my top customers still had Musashi.
Wow.
So it was, pretty bittersweet.
Turned out to be a blessing, though, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it kind of made
How'd you end up in Adelaide? When was that?
So I went down to Adelaide. I'd just kind of been on the coast for a bit. My partner had come over, Jolie. We kind of hooked up, and we just wanted to travel around a bit. And we ended up in Adelaide. I don't know why we ended up in Adelaide, but we ended up in Adelaide. We came to Sydney, we came to Melbourne, and then went to Adelaide.
Right.
And then Adelaide, we stayed there for about 2 years. Yeah. And we were training at the Olympian gym.
Yep.
It's a pretty cool gym.
Yeah.
It's a guy, Sam
Raptopoulos, yeah.
And then I had Ronnie Partlow from Newton.
I remember Ronnie, because he lived out here, didn't he?
Yeah, so he was living with me down there, and me and him and Nick Jones would be smashing it out in the gym. We had a crazy bond there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We did that for a couple of years, and then I moved back to the coast. And the coast, that's where I've been ever since.
All right, now, I've sort of got to know you through all of that, and I remember the day you won the heavyweight Australia and the Pro Card and everything else. What year was that? Can you remember?
Okay, so I competed in, I think it was I think it was
201, 202, something like that.
Yeah, because then I competed in.
Because I remember doing my 203 Pro show.
So I competed in 201.
Yeah.
That was.
I still remember it was one of those shitty leagues, clubs or whatever, they used to have the show. And look, a Pro Card wasn't automatically given out.
No.
And there'd been times where you'd go for your Pro Card, then you'd have to go to a tested universe overseas, and you have to come back and suck up to them and apply. And so we got to the stage I'm like, we should have a pro qualifier. And I remember you going at it. Who was it you beat? Was it Grundy? Or
Grundy at the Australian.
Yeah, and I remember the two of you. You two of you on stage, and I'm at the back because I was in one of your mates. I'm like, "Go on, the gorilla!" And you did. You look like a gorilla. What'd you weigh in that show?
I was 100. So that was I was 115.
115 peeled kilos of muscle.
Yeah. That was a 3 year. That was 3 years in Adelaide. I competed in the Australian at 97.
Did you?
And then I depleted too much, and then I did that one at 115.
Yeah, and then turned pro. I've just started the Australian Pro. That was 2001. I'd started that, and next thing, come on, John, you got to do the Australian Pro. It was really good back then because pretty much all the Australian guys that had a pro card, would either talk them into it, strong arm them into it, or just insist that they did it. And we'd always have 6 or 7 Australians in that. And it was 2003 when you made that top 3, and you beat some big names.
Yeah, I mean, that was
that
crazy year. I mean, I think, I don't know if I ever told you this, but Jolie just had Bella, and we're kind of thinking my career is kind of coming to an end, because I was a realist, man. I'd battled every kilo of muscle that I had, and I was, for that show I was 119, and it had taken me 2 years to put on 4 kilos. So I knew I was slowing down. I wasn't going to get much better than that. So I was thinking, this would be a great way to end my career, do the pro show.
The Australian Pro.
And as Australian Pro and leave, but I came third, and...
Who won it that year?
It was Chris Cormier.
Chris, again. And he became
Troy
great mates with us both from that first year in 2001. Chris won it, and...
Troy second.
Troy second, Jon Davie third.
And Tommy Thorson. No, Claude Gruels.
That's
fourth.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so it was a good lineup. And back then, for those that don't know, if you went in a pro show and placed top 3, you're automatically in the Olympia. Expenses paid, everything. And then over the years, there become so many pro shows that it became you had to win a pro show, or top 10 in the Olympia and top 6 and all this sort of thing. So you got in at the right time. Off you go to Vegas, 2003, to the Olympia, John.
Yeah, crazy. I've been collecting Olympia tapes since 94.
Tapes and magazines, because you and I were just like hardcore bodybuilding fans, which is how our friendship sort of started. And I'm like, shit, John's going to the Olympia.
Yeah. I remember phoning Ronnie up just after I won the show. I said, bro, can you come down to Vegas? And he goes, why? And I said, I made it to the Olympia. And he's like...
Ronnie Partlow.
Yeah. He's fucking serious? And I'm like, yeah, man. I can't believe it myself. So, yeah, it was made that... And you turn up, the limo picks you up from the airport. So it's all different, because I've never been on a limo in my life.
Right.
I've never flown overseas before. I've been flown to Australia from New Zealand. I've never flown to America before. So,
it was your first time in America?
First time in America, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'd gone over a week before, 10 days before. So I'd stayed in California, trained at Goals and World. And then Jolie come over, we flew to Vegas. They pick you up in a limo and you get taken to Mandalay Bay, which is probably one of the best venues in the world.
That's what it was, Mandalay Bay that year, yeah.
And, it just starts at, you know all about that week. You know, it's like press conferences and you meet all the other pros. And it was an incredible
And did you feel like you belonged, or did you have a kind of imposter syndrome where you think, what am I doing here?
Yeah, man. Like, your first time, I think everyone would probably have a little bit of that. But, I mean, the guys over there are so good. And I've been watching them on tapes for the last, 5 or 6 years. They were the guys that I was competing against. Ronnie Coleman was, that was his best
We'll talk
year.
about that.
Yeah.
So, of course, you go over there not knowing, shit, we're going to get a call out, I'm going to be top 10, maybe I'll do really well. Like you're big enough, 120 kilo, 119 kilo, John, which is about, what those guys are sitting at. But you're a big guy, you're very thick.
Yeah.
I've been taking pictures of you, when you were like big, man, like you really had the muscle bellies, everything. You go backstage, and I know you saw something that changed your life. Come on, walk us through it.
It was funny because it was, there's 4 of us put in a room. They split everyone up, and I remember Ronnie walked out, and
This is
Vicky Gates is
Ronnie, the big nasty Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman, yeah. And Vicky Gates is there, and she goes, show me your legs. And he drops his DAX. And, there's 4 guys that are top, 10 at the Olympia, and me in the room. And they're all kind of looking, I'm just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It looked like the hind leg of a horse, you know. It was huge with veins and that
He
grainy,
had those road maps all over him.
crazy. And, you know, I kind of let out a gasp, like, and everyone looked at me and I'm like, bro, you don't even need to take your shirt off. Like, he was so far ahead of everyone that year.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the other guys in the room, I think, got a bit of a shock as well. But, yeah, it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen.
Well, I often say, when people say, you know, what's the greatest body that ever walked on stage at a Mr Olympia, I think it was 2003, Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
happens to be your Olympia debut. And you're in the room with him. As you said, there's little rooms, there's 3 or 4 or 5 guys per room. And here you are with 296-pound skinless. Because, see, what happened the year before, Ronnie won the Olympia against this guy Gunther from Germany, Gunther Schleiderkamp. And a lot of people said he shouldn't have won. And he'd probably taken his foot off the gas a little bit. You know, he'd won 98, 99, 2000, 2001, convincingly and easily.
Yeah.
2002 was a little bit like, you know, Mike, I always compare it to Mike Tyson. He just didn't train as much.
Possibly,
Ronnie's probably the most competitive human I've ever met. And when he nearly got beaten, then he said, I'll show him. There was a show 2 weeks later. It was called the GNC Show of Strength.
Yeah.
And Gunther beat him. He'd never been beaten since he won that first Olympia. And I don't know what happened in his head, but he said, I will never be beaten again. I'll never let that happen. And that's a Ronnie that his next show was the 2003 Olympia, where he took the sport forward about 20 years. It was just, to me, it's still insane. You know, I've got pictures of him in the gym training for that. I've got pictures, it's a museum here. And, you know, I'll try and explain to people, and I'll just type in 2003 Ronnie Coleman images. It's just, I still can't get my head around it.
Yeah, it's almost like those images from Dorian, those black and white images that came out that circulated before he did that.
Yeah, Kevin Horton took them,
Jumped up to a different level.
Yeah.
And you had to see him walk out on stage. I mean, I remember following him to the pump-up room, you're just looking at his back going, I mean, how does anyone beat that?
Yeah, well, I think if you go back through it, like I think Arnold was really 20 years ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Like with the technology that wasn't there and the equipment wasn't there and the supplements and medicines and knowledge, for him to have that body, particularly his upper body, his chest and arms, in the 70s, you know, no one really changed the sport dramatically. You know, Haney went to another level, but then Dorian was the next one that just, you know, just raised the bar and changed the parameters of the sport. And then came Ronnie. I mean, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still look at Ronnie as being the ultimate bodybuilder because he wasn't the guy that, you know, jumped to the top real quick. You know, he placed in
15th, 9th, 12th.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like one year, it looked as though he just got all his shit together.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, once he got it in front, he wasn't going to let anyone beat him. And he just, I mean,
because you got to remember, he came up poor. He was hungry. And the craziest thing is, and I say to people all the time, he was working a full-time job as a police officer in Arlington, Texas. And I'm like, why would you work? He goes, because, you know, I've got superannuation and, you know, pension coming up. And he goes, health benefits. He goes, that's my job. He goes, this is just a hobby. Bodybuilding was his hobby. And he always took it like that. He didn't set out to do anything. He was just like, which is funny because, you know, people do all this goal setting and this time I'm going to be Mr Olympia, I'll be top 10, top 3. It was just his hobby. He just did it because he loved it and he was just real good at it.
Yeah.
You know, let's go back. So you're backstage with Ronnie, takes his pants down, takes his shirt off. Were you like, right, I'm coming back next year to beat this? Or I know the answer. What happened in your mind at that moment?
Mate, at that moment, I knew I was never ever going to beat any of those guys. I mean, realistically, my goal for that show was to compete and do the best I could and come hopefully in the top 10.
Yep.
Because, you know, every time you amateur, you go pro, you're hoping to come in the top 6. Then once you get to the Olympia, man, coming top 10 with the Olympia would be a big statement. But I just genetically wasn't that person, right? I think, unfortunately for me, I was critical enough of my own physique, and I had people around me that, you know, would be honest with me and say, you know, mate, probably not. You're probably not going to be the greatest bodybuilder. Because I made that decision that that would be it for me.
I remember you telling me, you said, I got backstage, I saw Ronnie, and you said, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point in time where with any career, you kind of go, am I going to be able to make a living out of this? That's what a career is.
Yeah.
Or is this just a hobby that I have a career that I make my living off and support my family, and the hobby is something I just do along the side, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's an amateur.
Yeah.
You can't. It's very hard to be a professional bodybuilder, and treat it as a hobby, because if it's a profession, you've got to go to that next level.
It's a full-time job, yeah.
So that was. So I really enjoyed the show. I mean, like, I just got to stand watching it, and the idea of being on the Olympia stage.
Do you remember who you were next to when you walked out?
Kevin Leveroni.
I thought so.
Of all people, he's one of my favourite physiques.
Right.
So, and Kevin was a good, one of the guys, there's a few really standout guys there. And
was he in that 2002 Australian that you placed third? Was that when he
No.
came out?
No.
What year did he come out and do that?
That was the year after, I think.
203 or 204.
Yeah.
Was the year he got second to Ronnie. And people don't know this story. He came out to Australia. I don't know. He just said, we were mates. He said, I'll come and do the Australian Pro. I heard you treat people real good and all this sort of thing. So it was worse than Chris. He comes in like a day late, no idea. He dehydrated himself on the plane. He drank on the plane. It was the worst he ever looked. And I'll never forget it because it was March. I went, holy shit. And he got like fifth, I think, in the Australian Pro. Got beaten by guys that would never be able to stand next to him.
Yep.
And I remember he was that crook and dehydrated because then he tried to pull his water, and it wasn't water, it was fat, and he was small. And he was cramping up so bad after the prejudging. I actually took him to hospital and put him on a drip between the prejudging and finals to make sure he was healthy enough to come back.
Yeah.
Looked a little bit better. And he said, I don't know about this. And he just limped home, got beaten in it was a second-rate contest. It was a B-tier contest. Goes back to America. He didn't train. That was March. April, May, June, he thought, maybe I should just give this Olympia a try. And Kevin used to get small when he didn't train.
Yeah.
He wasn't a bodybuilder. And June, July, August, September, he's come out the best he's ever looked and got second to Ronnie in the Olympia. I mean, that guy wasn't human.
No.
It was
There's a funny story about him. Kevin I was in Adelaide, and he went to Adelaide for something. I remember going to a gym, and he did a bit of a pose, and everyone came and watched him talk and stuff. And I asked a question. I said, and it was 11 weeks out from the Olympia, and he jumped on the scales. He was 217, right? And it was 11 weeks out from the Olympia, and I'm thinking, God, he's small for a bodybuilder. Normally, he normally competes at like 240, 245. So I'm thinking he's going to be 260. He's going to diet down. And he goes, I said, so when do you start dieting for the Olympia? He goes, normally 12 weeks out. And I'm like, it's 11 weeks out now. And he goes,
oh shit, it is
too.
too.
Back.
Yeah.
And then he turned up the Olympia and he weighed 240. And he just would grow into a show. He's just one of those guys that genetically... It would be scary to think if Kevin committed like Ronnie was for a full year, where he could have gone.
Yeah. And him and Chris, I think, were the two that...
Chris,
Yeah, or even Flex Wheel, if he had the discipline and the drive and the hunger, and the poverty that Ronnie had come from, there was no, those guys probably had, more tools in their tool chest than Ronnie did to start with.
Yeah.
But then he responded like nobody could have expected. But, it must have been kind of surreal for you, this kid from New Zealand, competing with your heroes, your idols, the guy that, as you said, you collected the magazines and the tapes and watched them. Next thing you're up there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Was that the last show?
No, I did it. I shouldn't have done it, but I came back and did a show in 206. And by then...
What show was it?
Up on the Gold Coast.
My show, was it? Yeah. That's right, because we had the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne. I couldn't get a venue in Melbourne. We took it up there. I probably talked you into it.
You talked me into it, mate.
I did.
I'd kind of
But you'd always have that 2-year break, because I tried to get you in 2004 and you go, nah... I just did the Olympia. I need a couple of years to put on some more sight. And that was always you. John would just disappear, and 3 years later, Big John's back.
Yeah.
2006. That was a cracking show, man. We had
awesome
I think we had 20 or 21 in the show. They came from everywhere. It was the Gold Coast Convention. And yet, fun fact, that was my first little taste of doing an expo. Remember we did like a little mini expo?
At the front, yeah.
At the front, we had to build the stage inside the convention centre. No, and that's what people don't know. The first Australian Pro, I broke even. Second one, third one, I lost money. Then I made a little bit, I think it was 2004. Went up there, done my nuts again.
Yeah.
Here I am, hiring conventions.
Yeah.
No idea, man. But I loved it, John. That was, I guess, because we couldn't control amateur bodybuilding, make that great. I kind of got the Pro League for Australia, and that was mine outside of the official IFBB, and I think that's what really kept us going because we had that to live for. And it was funny. I was saying to someone yesterday because everyone says I should do a pro show again, and the conundrum is this: that, in fact, you were saying at the weekend, is that the amateur shows were kind of like a warm up for our pro shows, and the amateur shows were so small and so bad that we needed a pro show to get people to buy tickets to come in. Now our amateur shows are so fucking big, we're lucky to get through them in a day, and the venue's already sold out.
Yeah.
So the conundrum for me is, well, when do we put a pro show on? Who's going to come watch? Because they're already there.
Yeah.
And it costs a lot of money to bring the athletes out and sanction fees and prize money and hotel, and we'll find a way. I just think we've probably got another year or two of just doing what we're doing, which I couldn't be happier about. It's nuts.
It is a shame when I look back that you weren't able to take control of the amateur bodybuilding earlier, because I think the sport would be a lot more progressed across both amateur and the professional.
Yeah, well, and obviously I had the Arnold Classic and COVID killed that, and that's when the Australian Pro stopped. It was the third longest running pro show in the world, only behind the Olympia and the Arnold.
Yeah.
Because it was the Ironman in New York. It was the Night of Champions, and then that dropped for a minute and became the New York Pro. So, even me, I'm like, how'd that happen?
Overnight.
Yeah,
20
overnight,
years.
20 years of just, but that's it. Yeah, we'll come back to the Pro League stuff. So, World Gym, how many have you got now? How many is there in Australia now?
So there's 57 open.
What?
Yeah.
And how many about to open?
I think we've got 13 or 14 for the next year.
Right, so you're going to be at 70 this time next
We'll be
year.
at 70 this time next year. I know.
All right, just stop. So go back. How'd you get the World Gym? Because you bought the World Gym license to Australia.
Yeah. So
How'd it come? Like, I know you want to be a gym owner because you used to always ask me questions about setting up a gym. Do a Doherty's gym. And go, I might have got World Gym.
yeah, it was funny.
Walk
Like I
us through
said, I mean, I the two people that I kind of saw was Tony Martin and yourself. I thought, I'd love to own a gym. I just sold my business. Nestle bought Musashi out. I'd sold private before that, so I had a little bit of money. And a friend of mine, Mike Nyston, got talking to him and said, I need to find something to do, man. So I'm thinking about doing a gym. And he's like, let's do a gym together. So we went over, and I'd been over to LA, so I've been training at Gold's and World, trained at both of them, met Joe Gold.
Who are, complexity, those not watching, Joe Gold owned Worlds.
Correct, and he set up Gold's.
Set up Gold's, but then sold out and set up World Gym down the road.
Yeah. So we wanted to have a brand, because back in those days there was, the big brand clubs were, Fitness First and Good Life and all that, but we wanted to have a gym. I liked the name gym, Everyone's had health clubs and wellness centres and all that. I'm like, it's a gym. You don't say I'm going to the health club.
I know.
I'm going to the gym, right?
I know.
So we went over and we met Mike Uritz, who was Joe Gold's lawyer and business partner, and just had a really down-to-earth chat, said this is what we want to do, want to open up 1 or 2 gyms, and bang, we signed a deal. And that was 20 years ago.
20, that's
20
it.
years ago, yeah.
And where was the first one?
First one we opened was in Penrith, yeah.
Was that the first one?
Yeah. So
Because Mike was from out there, wasn't he?
yeah, so he was living out there.
I remember Mike being this, heavyweight, sort of working class kind of bodybuilder that'd come and do the heavyweights every couple. So I knew he was always a good bloke.
Yeah.
And next thing you're doing World Gym.
Yeah, so Penrith started, and Mike found the site. It was actually Workout World, I think, it was something like that. So it was kind of a bit weird. But
so it was a gym that you kind of took over and refreshed, which is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So you do all the plumbing and permits and
everything was in place, and then I started Ashmore on the Gold Coast. So that was the first.
It was the first one in southern Queensland.
Yeah, and then we started getting, we started getting people interested that were kind of like us, and lots of my friends. So at the moment, there's probably 15 what people that I call my friends own 1 or 2 world gyms.
Right.
But we just started getting a bit of momentum, and a few people started inquiring. We started making a bit of noise, and we're kind of the different option. You know, like as you know, with Fitness First and Good Life, I think Fitness First helped raise the bar in gyms as far as the membership pricing.
Yeah, and set up and equipment and, you know.
Yeah, and
But it was just such a wanky model,
it
wasn't
was. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd hate it. And even now when I'm travelling, sometimes I remember I'd go to FIBA or whatever, and you'd have to go get a casual visit at Fitness First. And, you know, I'd go in fucking all jacked up and, you know, not like you, but, yeah, big guy, obviously.
Yeah.
And I said, can I have a look at your gym? No, you can't have a look. I'll go, look, it's €30 or whatever for a workout. I'll go, whatever, I just want to have a workout. We'll get you a membership consultant to come and have a chat with you. And some fuck would come out in fucking school shoes and a polo shirt and say, oh, have you ever worked out before?
Yeah.
I'm like, have you ever worked out before? You look like you. And I hated that model so much. I'm like, can we just go into a room, we'll talk about your options? I go, bro, I'm here for 2 days, there's no option. Can I just pay? I've got an hour, come on.
Yeah,
oh, no,
yeah.
I have to do my job. I don't need to have a look around. Where do I pay?
Yeah.
And it'd be like a fucking fight just to get a
in the
workout
door.
because
Yeah.
it was sell.
Yeah. So I suppose we're trying to bridge the gap between, you know, the old school gym setup and the modern fitness club. And we were bodybuilders at the time.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have that serious club. And, you know, I've been training in America and I've been to a couple of university gyms. You know, UCLA University in Riverside was like this crazy gym, like just power racks and deadlifting platforms. So I started thinking, you know, I just want to have these big warehouse kind of gyms that had great equipment in them. And
Lots of it,
you know, lots of, like, I was training at Fitness First at Robina, and it was a great gym. It had hammer strength equipment, but I can remember it had 30 20 kilo plates. So when I'd leg press, I'd do 12 plates a side. So when I'd take all the plates up, and so people would whinge, and then there'd be one leg press, one seated extension, one squat rack. So if more than one person wanted to train legs on a Friday afternoon, you're kind of screwed, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I was like, well, they're not catering to their members. And it's like, you know, we went through your gym before. You've got a room full of leg equipment.
Yeah, a whole
8
warehouse
leg
of just
extensions.
legs. I think it's like 15 different leg presses.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some of them are just collectible ones. You know, I've got that first one you ever trained on when I used to train with Sonny.
white one?
The white one. It was kind of, I don't know, I bought it second hand. That's the only machine I've still got that I bought from Bendigo in 1994. And it was on wheels. And we modified it and put linear bearings on it because this is before anyone was doing linear bearings, and changed the frame and everything else. And yeah, that built Mr Olympia legs, and everyone's trained on it. Every Mr Olympia since back then has trained on that leg. So I kept it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're going to replace it? I go, fuck no.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the thing back then. You know, you kind of we offered something a bit different, and a lot more equipment in the clubs, and we started getting a bit of momentum, and
So
then
Penrith, Ashmore.
we started we started the licensing and franchising because Mike and I were broke. Like when we started the first gym, I mean, with Ashmore, I remember Ashmore, it was $380,000 fit out, and I borrowed money from 3 people because I had already spent money on Penrith. And I borrowed money off my mum, my dad, 2 of my friends, you know, to get that club open. And on top of that was the equipment costs. So we knew what it was like to struggle.
Yeah.
So we wanted to offer, with the franchisees at the time, we're trying to offer a product that they could get into. So we're trying to organise finance for equipment and all the rest of it. But the club started off smaller, you know, 1,500 square metres would kind of be the number that we'd be looking for because rent was the biggest thing to take into account. But now the gyms are, you know, we're kind of looking at 2,000 to 2,500, 3,000 square metres, 4,000 square metres, some of our gyms are.
Yeah.
But we went franchising. We grew and grew and grew until.
I mean, the growth is phenomenal. Like, you just stop and think about it. From 1 to 2, that's a big jump. Your third one, I think, is kind of the hardest one. All of a sudden, there's 10, 20. Now you're talking about 50, 60, 70. Yeah. I mean, over 20 sounds like a long time. That's not a long time, John, to grow a brand that big and to make it a household name. And I think me observing and watching your story, man, which I'm incredibly proud of you and Mike and what you've done, but you've kind of become the poster child for World Gym internationally. Because I know, like, when you go to the seminar, like the conventions and that they have over there every year, there's well, some of the countries have come on now, but for a few years there, you were kind of flying the flag for that franchise model for the World Gym brand. Like, you guys go over there and win all the awards.
Yeah.
And you must be kind of pinch yourself sometimes and go, God,
Yeah, it's crazy.
that got big really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even fathom that we've got that many clubs that we've got now.
Was there a point where you just thought, you know what, let's go for it? Like that sort of 3 to 5, 10, kind of you and Mike, you can handle that. A couple of mates get franchises, but this is fucking huge.
Yeah, I think there was a point probably at about Club 20. Actually, it's funny because at COVID was make or break, right? And I think that was the point for a lot of people, that they either broke them or they just doubled down. And like you, I renovated Ashmore and Burleigh during COVID. You renovated your club.
It's not a club. Do you ever call it a club, John? We've been saying this for years. You call your joints clubs. This is a gym.
Yeah.
You know, I've run equipment salesmen out of here so many times, and I fuck with them because they'll come in. Poor old what's his name, Glenn, that does the Pilates stuff.
Yeah.
He slips up and he gets nervous. So we go, have you thought about putting something into your club? I go, what did you say?
Yeah.
And he just goes quiet and goes, pal, you just called a fucking club, didn't you? I just go hardcore and I go, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just messing with you, but please don't.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. I mean, it's like people calling, there was a time when one of our franchisees wanted to call it World Fitness Centres, because he was so under the understanding that everyone wanted to go to a fitness centre. I said, when does anyone ever say, I want to go to the fitness centre? They always say, I want to go to the gym. That's what it is. It's a place where
where's the
people
nearest gym?
train, sweat, and grow and change their lives.
Clear your head.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing with it for most people. I mean, I definitely look back on bodybuilding and think it was the thing that changed my mindset the most was bodybuilding.
It's a funny thing. We talk about the lockdown time, and we got it really bad down here. You guys, you got to renovate. That was nice for you. Your state was shut for a week or two. We were padlocked shut for 367 days over those 6 lockdowns.
Yeah, crazy.
Fucking destroyed us, man. It was really hard. I mean, I've got to find a positive and what can I do? I always have a saying, focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. So after like the first 2, 3 lockdowns, I've renovated the fuck everything. I've done the warehouse next door, and we had to write a company letter to allow us to come to work. There had to be a reason, and it could be a renovation that already started or online sales. So Simone, who's recording, she'd come in and send out all the T-shirts and merch and keep that going, because we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't let members in, and there was people say, you're letting people in the back door. No, I'm not. And I guess what came out of that, and I always knew that gym was good for your head, but I'd never kind of articulated it. So as you know, I got to do a lot of media to fight for our industry in Victoria and around Australia, and I was on, Sky News a lot, and 7, 9, 10, and on the radio constantly, just about every week, to kind of fight the fight. And there was a lot of angry gym owners, they'd go on the news and go, hey, fuck this, or fucking, I'm going to kickbox the fucking government and just poor us, we're not getting any money. And I'd always take a different approach and say, look, we're all in this together. If they just said, Doherty, your gym is shut, everyone else you can stay open. But they didn't. They said, everyone. Padlock your gyms. And because I was outspoken, they were watching me. So there's no way I could even, because a lot of gyms just have the back door entrance, let a few in and keep the money trickling. So I'm like, what can I do? And I thought, instead of going on, because they just think we're meatheads and no one understands our culture, this is now a great opportunity to tell the world and the mainstream world about the benefits of weight training for mental health. So I'd go on the news and say, look, what you don't understand, it's not all about flexing your muscles or changing your body. In fact, we've got members who've been here for 20 years and they look exactly the same as the day that they walked in. But they come here to cope, especially men. They're out there trying to provide, they've got high pressure jobs or whatever. They don't want to go home in a mood or to take their shit out on their family and they don't mean it, it's just fucking hard. The world's getting harder. But they come to the gym and everything's okay. So I talk about the benefits of that, and I talk about the people that had mental health disorders or were schizophrenics and heavily medicated, and people that had depression, and how much exercise lowered their prescription drug usage and released their endorphins and made them feel good. And it was really good because the media sat back and listened. Okay, you guys think we just come here and flex our muscles? It's not. 90% of members are just regular people that live close by that come here to cope.
100%.
You know, and it was, you talk about that, and I think that gets lost sometimes because people that don't go to the gym don't get it. Your gyms, clubs, and my gyms are communities. It's like where people go, and especially like Ashmore reminds me of Brunswick, it's where people go and hang out.
Yeah.
They stay for hours. It's not even about the workout.
Yeah. I think the whole thing with mental health, and for me, I realise now that when I got what I'd say dedicated to gym, not addicted, because addiction's a negative word. I became dedicated was a mental thing. It wasn't a physical thing. I never showed my body when I first started going to train because I was training for putting on muscle for rugby, but I built my mental strength, and I wouldn't want to let myself down. It was my driving. It was my what would you call it? Voluntary discomfort. Putting myself under a bar with 200 kilos on it, saying I'm going to squat until I can't do another rep, and then hang the bar up and collapse and then go and vomit, and then know that 3 days later I was going to be in absolute agony. Not many people want to put themselves through that.
Yeah.
If you can do that in the gym, you know, then you start applying that to things in work, and your work ethic and all that changes. And that's a mental strength thing.
Yeah, I think it really is. And I think it goes unnoticed, but also it keeps the demons away. And I think if you're a bit of a kid that's sort of got on the wrong side of the tracks, the one thing you lack that your mates don't have is discipline. And I think showing up, you know, and having a good mentor who says, no, you can't go out and eat shit, you can't drink and take drugs if you want to be a bodybuilder. You're going to have to have some no-go zones, and you have to show up and do your best workout. And I think it saved us and a lot of young blokes from probably going the wrong way. Yeah,
definitely. I think definitely with me, I'd hate to. When I was 12, 13, I was heading down a dark path, and my 3 friends at the time, 2 of them are dead and 1 of them's in jail, and I was probably the worst of the bunch. So I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't found weights and bodybuilding. Would you change my life?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's lost along the way that doesn't matter if you don't change your body, just go to the gym. Yeah, 100%. And everyone's got something. Some people it might be golf or boxing. We're at boxing ring in the gym here, and the boxing guys are kind of different breed than the weight training thing, but they still come for the same reason.
Yeah,
they go out there, whoosh, 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 or whatever, and clear their head.
Yeah, any sport. I think we all talk about. For me, getting my kids involved in the gym was, always in the back of my head, but my son plays rugby still, and he has that same positive mindset, and it carries across into his relationships, into his work, just like bodybuilding, the strictness of bodybuilding. For me, it was, I'd get up in the morning, I'd have, I would do my fasted cardio for half an hour, then I'd eat, then I'd prepare all my meals for the day that I'd have for that day. I'd go to work for 9 hours or 8 hours. I'd come home, have my pre-workout meal, train, come home, have my meal, and then have my cardio, and then go to bed. And I did that for a show for 16, 20 weeks. But off-season, I still do that.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, but that's what I mean about the discipline. Like, you were like a monk. When you decided to go for it, you'd be all in. It was amazing to watch. But back to the gym. So, you start out this kind of hobby gym. You just want to build gyms, places for people to go to a real gym and have lots of equipment and warehouses. And all of a sudden it grows and grows. And I guess, I've seen you go from this gym guy to this corporate guy, because now you're in meetings with banks, with equipment companies, with landlords, with suppliers, and then developing preferred suppliers and doing deals with that. No one knows the scale of building a brand and a franchise the way you have, because there's all of a sudden there's a fucking 100 moving parts that regular gym owners like me. I don't worry about that shit. I'm just like, I'll save up and I'll buy a bit of equipment. That's it. I get a good deal because I'm Tony Davie and people want their equipment in the gym and everyone sees it and trains it. I'll get pretty good deals. But you've got to go and negotiate package deals for multiple clubs. Like you say, I remember when you'd be opening 3 in a year, you go, I'm going to open 3 gyms this year, 3 clubs.
Yeah.
I'll never live that down. No, I'm fucking with it. You can call them whatever you want. This one's a gym. But I remember you'd be overwhelmed. You've got 3 clubs, it's going to be really... Now you're doing 10,
12,
20.
13,
It's how much of it's changed as far as from being like a gym guy to this corporate guy? And you've become a great businessman. I mean, I know you go in and negotiate really, really well.
Deals,
like, where do you?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of. I've when you say the growth thing, it's about putting your head down and running, right? You just don't stop. Like you, I just don't stop. I don't switch off. So I find it very hard to have time when I'm not thinking about work. So effectively that business side of things is a different part, and it's a part that I don't enjoy as much as being in the gym.
I know.
Like I get up, I go to both my gyms every day. I go to Burley normally at 5 o'clock in the morning for my first workout, and I hang there, see the main members.
The
That's
morning
where I
people,
see
the
the most
crew,
amount of
yeah.
people, and then I end up at Ashmore in the afternoon and see the afternoon people, because that's when our peaks are on, and that's when I feel most at home and relaxed, because I'm just the gym guy, right? The business side of things was difficult to learn, and
How did you have like a business mentor, or did you just learn on your feet, or
just kind of Mike and I have been. The great thing with Mike and I, we're really aligned. Mike's really good with legal and contracts,
numbers and all that
thing.
stuff? Yeah.
I've kind of more on that other side of it, where I can walk into a space and see a gym working here or not working.
Yep. Mezzanine goes here, double that.
Yeah, and that's and we've worked so well together for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's been helpful. And also, mate, we've got a fantastic team of people. Like that, we've got a team of people that we've been able to, hand over stuff, delegate stuff to that gets done probably better. I've got a team of people that a lot of them are way better than me at doing what I was trying to do. So, without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
But I think you get to a point where you realise, I'm not great at bookwork, for example, so I've got to hire really good numbers, accountant kind of people. And you're the same, whether it be in marketing or design or builds. Like, just no one can understand how hard it is to get an empty building and say, right, in 4 months, 6 months, this is going to be a working gym. And there's so many, like we've just watched our other business partner, Mark, in New South Wales do his new one at Rouse Hill. And that was a paddock. It was like wasn't even a building. He goes, they're going to build this for us. It's purpose built. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And just to watch that come together and how many moving parts there is, people don't see. There's the permits. There's the plumbing. I mean, it's immense. Just to put showers into a new building and toilets and ventilation and to disabled and to fit all the criteria and tick all the boxes that you have to tick now.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, and you've also got the thing where you're trying to tick all the council requirements and the legal requirements and the franchising requirements, but you're also trying to address the member requirements, with car parking, for example. For us, it's like, mate, if we have 100 and, some of our clubs have 1,200 visits a day. Wow. At peak times, they might have 200, 300 visits over an hour or 2 hour period. So you've got to have 150 car parks. I can find sites with 50 car parks, but it's going to make my business suffer. So you're trying to, for every site we've done, I would say there'll be 20 or 30 sites we've walked away from.
Yeah, I know, because you'll often ask me about an area or this and this, and you go and look at 10 sites. And I'll be like, do you find us something?
No, nothing.
No.
Yeah, and so I think, that's the best thing about Mike and I's partnership, has been that we bounce off each other. He's really good at some stuff, and I know what he's really good at. He knows what my strengths are, and then we're morally aligned as well, which means we can go out and find the right people to take over roles that we're not skilled at.
Yeah, and how hard do you find the people management side of things? Because for me, that's always the biggest thing, whether it be in the bodybuilding team or the gym team, is getting the best out of people and making sure you've got the right people in the job, that lift each other up and support each other and build that kind of team environment. I mean, the bigger something gets, it must get hard, man.
It gets hard. I mean, staff are always, they're not hard. I mean, they are hard, and they're not hard. But if you get good staff and the people that see your vision and understand what you're trying to do, they'll understand. And we have a really good team at the moment, and we've had a great team over the years. But it's finding those people that have the same passion for the industry. I just feel like, for me, first and foremost, whenever I open a gym or look at staff person, I want someone that's in the gym training, that loves the gym, loves World Gym. I mean, it's very hard to hire someone that comes into an interview and say, have you ever been to a World Gym? They say no. Because to me, if you don't know the business you're going into, then...
The whole culture, the whole bit.
The whole culture. I've got people that are putting resumes in saying, if you ever get a job, come up at World Gym, let me know. They're the first people I'm going to go to. And managing staff is...
Managing managers is probably the level that you're at now, like finding a club manager and trusting,
Them to run it,
particularly a new site, like not a franchisee but like a company one, that must be
It's hard work. Yeah. I mean,
just letting go. I mean, you're a control nut, Mike's a control nut. I'm
you're the same.
card-carrying member of the Control Freak Club. Like, you know, because I care. Like, every moving part's got to be right. You know what I'm like with people leaving their weights out, or cleanliness, or knowing that, you know, the toilets are clean, there's toilet roll, all the little things, bins are emptied. Like, I can do that because I'm hands-on here, but to hand over
To someone else.
a club to someone else and trust them to be you.
Yeah.
To be, you know, I say that if ever I put someone into that management thing. When I'm not here, you're a Doherty. Like, you're representing me.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always tried to lead from the front with the staff. Like, I'll be the first one to grab a mop or empty a bin. When we had the check-ins here the other day, it was so busy, man. We had hundreds of people, and the bins were overflowing. Someone going around tying up bin bags. But what are you doing that for? Okay, because the fucking bin was full.
Yeah. And it
Like,
leads
why would
by
I ask someone
example.
to do something I wouldn't do?
Yeah, and it's a leads by example. Like,
Yeah.
I go into Ashton when the toilet's blocked. I won't even go and ask the staff. I'll just go and plunge it, right? I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes. During COVID, I watched you polish concrete your floors. You know, I was grinding pipes into my floors and ripping out flooring during COVID. And that's just the way that Mike and I have always operated. I think I looked at Tony Martin when he was running his gym. That's how he did it. You know, he used to come in at night and paint his equipment, you know, and then you just got to lead by example.
Yeah, must be. So, how many gyms are franchised out of the ones you've got now, and how many you and Mike got?
So me and Mike, our corporate clubs, we just sold 3, obviously, in that Viva Leisure deal. So we've got probably 8 or 9 gyms between us that we're a corporate
Company
entities,
owned, yeah.
And then the rest of them are franchised. And out of the franchises, there's probably out of the 50 or 40 something 5 clubs, there's probably 20 franchisees. Some of my friends have 4 or 5 world gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
some of them have 2, 3, and that's the most satisfying thing because you're dealing with the same people.
Yeah.
And some of them have been franchisees for 10, 12, 13 years.
So, yeah, they get it. They can find the managers and set up the crew. They know the boundaries and the rules and the culture. Because, you know, all your world gyms have got that same sort of feel. You know, like I've been to you once in WA, who's sponsored the show. So I'm walking, wow, this is
Crazy.
Yeah, this could be in Dubai. This is like really, really world-class stuff. And as you open, they get better and better. And just the whole, I guess, interior design, the lighting, the whole thing just comes up and up and up.
Yeah, I think one thing that Mike I have always tried to do is be open to new ideas. And we've got really a lot of franchisees come in and they come up with ideas that most franchisees would say, no, here's a design guide, you can't do anything else. They'll come to us and say, I want to do this lighting or put this wall feature up. And we really like that. We'll add that to our design scope.
Yeah. And I've talked to Gretchen about this, and we were saying, I'll go to head office with an idea, and best idea wins. It's a great way to run a company. Is best idea wins. I don't know if I thought of it, or you
100%.
thought of it, or the guy that comes in to do the cleaning thought of it. Best idea wins.
100%. If you've got that attitude, I think you just keep evolving. And honestly, we're always evolving. Our clubs now are way different to what they were 10 years ago. And I think that's probably why, when you look at World Gym, the Taiwan and World Gym Australia, Taiwan's got 117 clubs.
Right, and what's the population there?
6.5 million.
So, like, what percentage of people in Taiwan is a World Gym member? That's phenomenal.
10% or something.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
you were
it's
saying that to
crazy.
me yesterday. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
Yeah. But, the guys over there done an incredible job. So they just bought the rights off America. So they own World Gym branding now.
Oh, they own World Gym worldwide.
Worldwide.
The Taiwan guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's us.
Because you've been up there a few times, huh?
Yeah, we go up there a lot.
Yeah.
Very different model, and a very different model, but massive, beautiful clubs like next level lights and But the interesting thing for us now is with our growth is making sure the franchisees understand the brand, and that they kind of want to be a franchisee. Because a lot of our I've had people come in, people that I know, and that say, I want to do this, this, and this. I'm like, mate, nah.
Wrong brand.
Mate. Go and do something else, and they'll go and do their own thing. Yeah. Because we've opened 63 gyms. total, we've had to had to remove a few from the franchise because we weren't following the franchise rules, and we've had a few that wanted to leave that we've let debrand, and all those gyms are still running. So we've never had a world gym, go under or fail, or even a gym that was in our brand previous go under, which to me is a big tick, because if you look at some of the other franchise groups, they're shutting down clubs left, right and centre, and then they just reopen them, sell the franchises to someone else, and they open it.
Yeah. And I know you've had a couple that you've had to kind of move on because they just got outside of their brand guidelines and the authenticity of the brand and went a bit rogue. How hard's that? And then they come at you. I know you've been through some heavy sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard when
you're someone who does the right thing. It must be a head fuck when you see the worst in people. Yeah,
you do. I mean, we all have it. I think we all have times in our lives where there's a turning point, and we had one with one particular partner that came into the brand. He actually bought into with Mike and I, and we just weren't aligned, mate. We weren't morally aligned for number one, and he had different ideas, wanted to do different things, and we didn't want it. So, we'd started this brand from scratch, and all of a sudden he was saying that he wanted to buy the product of us. You're out, mate. We're going to get rid of you. And you go through that, and it's a learning curve to get rid of someone out of a brand. And we paid him a chunk of money. Hindsight, the best thing that ever happened to me, because we ended up doing this deal recently, which was...
We'll get to that.
Yeah, a big difference. But to get... you've got to be aligned, mate. And unfortunately, we weren't aligned. And we didn't have the same moral values that Mike and I had. And
sometimes you've got to cut the cord, man.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, it can be hard. I've had to move on some people that I thought were all in with their brand. Years you put into people, and then all of a sudden, you find out that what's really going on, they're not representing you the way, like you say, the morality of the brand and the authenticity of the brand, and that's tough, man.
Yeah. But it makes you stronger, and I look back at that time, and this particular person, we got rid of him, it made me and Mike realise that we didn't need him. We were crazy to even let him in the brand. We already had everything. And that was in 2020, and we've almost doubled the brand since 2020.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy
lessons.
growth.
I often say the lessons you learn in life involve pain. I know you went through it. Like you were pretty flat for that early time, and COVID hit at the same time.
It was awful.
We lost the Expos, we lost the Arnold. We're just trying to develop Pro League, which we'll get to, and all of a sudden, all the rules got changed out of our control. I think it was the hardest bit. It's like, I didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
When I got shut down with the Arnold, I got a phone call, 5 days out. I'd had 8 staff on for you, done all the advertising, everything's done. I'm like, no, we'll be able to pull this off. Didn't matter how much I fucking believed in it or hoped for it, everything got padlocked. I'm like, fuck.
It wasn't going to happen.
And it tests us out, but, look back, I go, shit, maybe a hell of a lot stronger, maybe realise I can deal with anything. People say, how do you deal with this? I go,
you went through that.
Just another day, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's almost like at the time, it was like removing a parasite out of your body. I was spending so much time on this parasite that was drawing all your blood and taking all the goodness out of your brand. Got rid of it, and now everything's good. I can just focus on building the brand again.
You seem like you're in a good spot now. The Viva, is it? Viva deal come along.
Yeah.
It was pretty big. I mean, I remember you appointed like a CFO and a CEO, and you started getting some big heavyweight people involved in the brand. Like you say, you employ people. You don't give them a share, or you pay them lots, and helps to elevate that expansion kind of stuff. What was the Viva? When was it, and how did that all come about?
It was about a year and a half ago we started talking to them, and we kind of look at the tech side of things. They're a tech-based company initially.
And they're like a public company?
Public listed company, yeah. So they own a few other gym groups. But, we're not tech, we haven't been that tech savvy. Me and Mike aren't that tech savvy. And, the scanning and paying on your phone and being able to order your shakes and all that kind of thing is something of interest to us. And so we started talking with Viva, and, he came from one gym as well. Not many people know that. The owner of Viva, Harry, started with one gym.
One gym?
One gym. What was it? He started. It was a big gym over in Canberra. And he took it over because they were landlords, took it over and grew this one gym. And then he just changed from the tech industry into the gym industry. I didn't know that at the time, and it was a cool story. But moving the brand forward for us, to be able to grab that tech side of things into the brand made a good. It was a really good option for us. So they bought in 25% of the business.
25%.
Yeah.
It was a multi-million-dollar deal.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's confidential, but that's kind of life-changing. Like, you think from where you started to where you're dealing with these publicly listed companies that are buying 25% of your brand from millions.
Yeah.
Millions. Oh, John, dude.
I know. It's crazy.
I don't get your headaches, but I don't get that kind of investment either. Like,
Yeah.
it makes it all worthwhile. It must be kind of nice to see, I guess, not an exit plan, but all right, this has really worked. Now we've got something which can one day either be sold or moved on, or it must be pretty satisfying.
Yeah, the most satisfying thing is that, I go back right at the very beginning when we brought World Gym to Australia. I remember one particular equipment company owner, and you know him, I'm not going to say his name, but he said, "Why are you bringing World Gym here? It won't work." And the amount of people that said to me, "World Gym won't work," straight out. And I kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to fucking give this a real good hot shot, right? To think that a public listed company bought 25% invested in us and believe in the brand that much now.
That much,
That's the
dude.
best reward.
And how much have they brought to the table? Because it's a little bit like, I watch Shark Tank. I love it. I watch a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love the chase too. I play that quiz game every day. I'm a little off.
Yeah.
But the Shark Tank, I love it because they'll go in, they'll do a deal, and it's never about the money. They'll say, "Look, I'll give you the money you want, but what I'm going to do with your brand, with my team and my tech and my business acumen is like something you cannot buy." And I think, how does that apply with that? Like, what do they bring? Like, how much has that changed the expansion, the whole confidence of the brand and everything else?
I think that it's going to slowly change over time because, bringing in tech and across the group and into the franchise model is a slow process. So we try and test it at a corporate level, corporate clubs, and then we'll roll it out to our clubs. But, the ability over the next 2 or 3 years to bring the tech stuff that would have taken us millions of dollars and years to acquire is going to be so beneficial to our franchisees and to the growth of World Gym. And so we sit with them we have share an office now. So we've moved to an office in Broadbeach and we share the same offices. And
that's with Harry and the Viva crew?
The Viva crew, yeah. And we have monthly meetings, we catch up and we talk about, the expansion into the World Gym side with tech. And it's really exciting for me because I look at some of their apps and go, "Oh, wow, how do you do that?" And they go, "We can do that, no problem, like that, we'll just build it." So, and I've got ideas, just like you have all these ideas. We both run the cafes and we do the clothing, we do the shakes and we do all those meals and all those kind of things. And
but I think that's the genius of a proper gym brand. It's not having a whole lot of members that don't come. And I've watched and I won't mention brands, but a gym, those 24 swipe card things. There's a couple open up close by, and when they have their opening, they'll have some in the shopping centre with a spinning wheel, trying to give away. You've just won, 3 months membership. It's just to build the database and to trick people into going on to direct debit. They're never going to go to the gym. So I've always been the opposite. People come in, we've never had a salesperson, we've never had a sales room, we've never done a special. We say, here's the prices up front. In fact, they're on the internet. I've always just listed them, nothing to hide. And then people have a tour, they have a look around. Is this for you or not?
Yeah.
You love it or you don't. They go, "I love it." All right, join. And some people go, "I don't know, it's a bit intimidating. I really want to do group fitness." I go, "It's not for you, bro.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
Just go around the corner. There's this here." And therefore, all of our members are working members, like actual members. Our renewal rate here is still in the high 70%, which is, is unheard of. We've got probably 40 members from when I first opened.
Industry standard is 33% of your members re-sign every year. That's industry across Australia.
I thought it would have been less, to be honest, because of all those kind of
jobs. If you've
jobs.
got 2,000 members, that means you're only signing 66% of your members. They're starting
600, yeah.
I mean, that's
what I mean. Then you've got to go and do dumb shit in shopping centres to try and get more people. And so I never liked that model.
Yeah.
I'm like, instead of me having 3,000 members here, if I could get 1,500, 1,600, get them to come every day, get them to buy coffee on the way in, stay and have a shake, and to wear my shirt. Doherty's Gym. It blows my mind when I see it. Now, I was going to talk to you about the merch side of it, because World Gyms, like Gold's Gym, World Gym, are really cool gym brands.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went over there, man, I come back with my case full of Gold's and World's Gym gear, because it was just so cool. Because I see all the guys in the magazines with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you, but they offered me Gold's Gym before I started Doherty's, and they wanted 30,000 US to get the license for Australia. I didn't have fucking $30. I borrowed money to get the flight there, and I remember it was Rich Minzer, who's still there in some capacity, and he was like the international franchise guy, and I got to meet Tim Kimber and all those guys. This is how it works. But I remember them saying to me, do you know Gold's Gym Venice does double in merch to what they do in memberships? I've gone, ding! I go, well, can't afford, bro. Thanks for the offer.
Very much,
But, you know, I always thought a World Gym or Gold's Gym could really work here with the right team, but I didn't have the money. Didn't have the resources, the money. Couldn't have even borrowed it. So I'd moved down from Bendigo with a truckload of broken equipment. I go, fuck, I'm doing bodybuilding shows. My name's on the post. Let's call it Doherty's Gym. And my best mate, one of my best mates, one of my two best mates I grew up with, said, I'll never forget, and I still say it to myself every day, don't build a gym, don't build a business, build a brand. I remember doing the first T-shirts when Sonny was around, and they'd get him to wear them, and then the AFL guys would wear them, and then all of a sudden the WWE guys were wearing Doherty's Gym, and it went boom. You know, and to this day, like our merch, like Simone does all my designs, has for years, and isn't it such a buzz that we come out with like the flannelette shirts? I'm like, cool. Let's do flannies. Everyone goes, oh, who's going to wear a gym flanny? I go, you watch. Now there's all these other fucking gyms doing flannies. I'm like, good. We've never copied or done anything, but I was really, really inspired by that Gold's and World Gym merch design angle. And I know some of your stuff now, man. It's almost fashion stuff. It's cutting edge.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Legacy range, which is all the old, the gorilla holding the bar, which is our standard Legacy range, which has been around for 50 years now. But then we kind of started doing more this style kind of different stuff, and my daughter actually, Bella, runs the retail sales side.
She does?
She does a lot of the clothing designs. And that's been incredible for us because, like you say, if you can get the right people wearing it, it just puts your brand out. But even mum and dad, I walk through a shopping centre, the most humbling thing is to see some dude walking around my shirt.
Me too. Blows my mind. I've been overseas at expos and had guys run up and go, and they've got Doherty's gym shirt. What the fuck? You're from Scotland. I'm like, well, what are you doing in my shirt? Oh, we bought it online, or someone went to Australia and you got to go there and buy me a shirt. Isn't it mind-blowing?
It's crazy. I remember one day we finished a design, we launched it on Monday. I flew to New Zealand on Friday, and I walked through the gate in New Zealand, in Auckland, and there's a dude holding a sign up for a friend of his with that design shirt on. So somehow in 5 days he'd got that design shirt back into New Zealand. And I mean, it's...
How much a part of the business is
it's a pretty big chunk now. Like our clothing, because we sell clothing throughout Australia through our clubs, so we've got 57 locations selling clothing and merchandise, gloves, straps, wraps and belts and stuff. But then we sell online as well. And, we will have people buy from Germany or Switzerland.
Must be a huge chunk of your business. Like
it's a big chunk, and it's growing. And I think, realistically, when you look at brands, there's only, Gold's, World, Doherty's. People want to wear those shirts. No, people don't want to wear some of the other brand shirts.
No, you don't see people getting around
Anytime or a Jets shirt.
You don't see Snap Fitness shirts or Anytime Fitness.
No.
And that's one of those brands that, they get the mum and dad investors, we've got this building, it's big enough for 800 members, but we'll help you sign up 2,500, no one will come. That's that treadmill. I couldn't stand it, man. I'm just like, no.
No, it's one of those things. I've never been comfortable with it. Like, I understand it, and I understand why some gyms do it. But if I go to a trade event and there's speakers talking about it, it's almost like
it's cringy, man.
It's cringy because I'm thinking, it'd be like having a restaurant and only 33% of your people want to come back.
Ever, because your food's so shit. And that's one thing we've always been aligned with. And I think you and I have tried to shape the industry. And I'm a small player. I didn't expand like you guys did. And no regrets.
No.
The fact that you can even say that, my merch is up there with Gold's and World's, I'm like, well, I've only got 3 gyms.
It's worn by around the world. You see people walking around Doherty shirts.
It is pretty cool. But the one thing we've maintained and we've tried to shape and help the industry is to not do the fucking heavy discounting and to bastardise and prostitute the brand for the sake of quick fixes, $100 membership, $200 membership. I've never done a sale, a discount.
Don't need to.
Never, ever. No one. And I've always thought, why would you do a cheaper price for new members than what you do for your loyal ones that have been with you for years? Like, what a kick in the balls that would be if I'm paying $600 and then someone can come in off the street and get it for $400. I'm like, no, man, that's not cool.
It's a race to the bottom.
A race to the bottom. Yeah.
And I think, you know, we've got to educate some of our franchisees, because our franchisees have the clubs around them all doing these silly deals, you know, on the memberships, clubs outside of our brand, and we're like, you don't have to do it. You know, if you do we offer a great product, and like you do, you offer a great product to the right people. They'll come, they'll join, they'll stay. Yeah,
and it's affordable. It's not like we should be double what we are. If you look at inflation from when I started 30 years ago to now, you know,
100%.
we were charging $500 for membership 30 years ago. Now it's $8.95.
Yeah,
It should be $1,500.
Yeah.
But you know, people doing unnecessary discounting has kept that down, and it's good that people can afford to go to a gym. I like that side of it, but there's just, you don't have to go so low. You know, I don't get it. Never have.
No.
Do your franchisees? Do you have a set price for World Gym memberships? Is it the same across the board?
Yeah, we've got a national level passport membership, which is $26.95 at the moment, which you can train
per week
and join at any gym. You can go to any World Gym in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
That's the best. I mean, that's $26.95, man. Like,
it's 5 coffees.
That's right, and to be able to train at 57 locations around Australia whenever you want is pretty good.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, and then we have some of our clubs are, you know, around the 20. Most of the clubs are around $20 a week.
Yeah, we're $20 a week. Yeah,
which I think is the right price. And like you say, I remember Fitness First advertising when I first joined Fitness First. It was $16.95 a week. Fitness First, that was 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, right.
The average membership price is $17 a week now in Australia.
Is it
20
really?
years later. So you take into account the inflation, CPI increases, rent increases, all those things. It's just putting more pressure on businesses, and it makes businesses go under.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't afford to do it for that price. You know, now you've got to be up around the $20.
So where to from now with the World Gym? What's...
Oh, well, we're going to keep. Man,
keep powering on. Is there like a ceiling or a limit of how many gyms you think Australia can work?
I never would have thought we'd be where we're at, but you can see.
It's got to be that 100 mark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be. I think, you know, start looking at Canberra, stuff in WA North, and some of the rural towns, because as you know, you go into an area like some of our best clubs like Coffs Harbour or Port Macquarie or somewhere like that, which haven't ever experienced a really cool gym like a World Gym. There's a lot of those opportunities. So I reckon we'll get to 100 clubs pretty quick.
Wow. Well, must. You have to pinch yourself sometimes.
Yeah, it blows your mind.
Now, John, you know, we've talked a lot about World Gym and your growth, your bodybuilding and all the thing, but you and I have sort of been really on the same page with bodybuilding, our love for bodybuilding, as in bodybuilding competition for a long, long time. And you'd always say to me for years, when are you going to take over? Because we used to go to those shows in shitty venues, start late, have one person backstage trying to get things, 20-minute gaps in between things, so badly run, or they change the order of things in the middle of the show, or they just take a break and, you know, go and eat and drink for a couple of hours, be back later, or, you know, the show starts at 10 and the promoters wouldn't even have left the house. And you got, you know, people standing out in the sun and trying to put tan on their cars.
That was shit for competitors.
That was fucking shit. And I remember you'd always say to me, you're the guy.
Yeah.
When are you going to take over? And go, John, I've got a plan. It's just taken longer than we thought. And that's how I, you know, got to, thanks to Jim Mannion, he gave me the Pro League separate to the thing. And that enabled us at least do the Australian Pro and have that flagship event. And obviously, you know, that turned into FitX, and then with the encouragement of people that did believe I could do it, turned into Arnold. And I still pinch myself that, you know, became Arnold's partner. But that was always here, and that was always the dream and the plan. I just thought, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work. Fuck, I'm going to try.
Give it a go.
You know, I think that helped a lot. But we still had this antagonist of not being able to do what should have been done for the athletes in Australian bodybuilding. Then was it 2017, 18? You know, the split happened. This is where, you know, Jim Mannion, who had the NPC and the Pro League, and Rafael from Spain was the president of the old IFBB, and they went at it. I'm like, yes, this is fucking so cool. And it happened. Finally, the split happened. And of course, for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm like, I'm with Jim.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider it for a moment. I've waited 20 plus years for this time to have a crack. And I thought, like, I'm going to appoint a promoter in each state. And compliments to you in the conversation we had. You were the only and first choice. I couldn't wait to call you. I'm like, John, it's fucking happened. Do you want to be partners in bodybuilding? Let's see what we can do. Let's talk about that. Like, I know you always wanted to do it in the background, and obviously now you've got all the gyms. It's a great fit, but how fucking cool was that moment, man?
Yeah, mate, I've watched you run these incredible pro shows, and from the pro side of things, all the other pros would talk about how great the Doherty run shows were. I don't know if they told you that, but they'd all want to come down under because they got treated right. And so I knew that if you got a hold of the amateur league, you'd do the same thing because you're a bodybuilder first and foremost. Unfortunately, I think the previous people that were running it just lost that completely. That
a long time ago.
The athletes.
Yeah.
And put the athletes first. They're the show. People coming to watch the athletes, make that journey for them to get up on stage, get judged fairly, and get off stage, and go out for dinner and celebrate. That journey of really
knowing the show will finish at 6 o'clock if we 100%. Say so. Yeah. And
in better venues with better lighting. I mean, some of the horror stories that happened to me. I remember one show. I think it was before the Australian. So it wasn't the Australian one. It was before that. And I came down and I was broke. I was broke. I couldn't even afford to come down. They charged me $120 for my card so I paid them $120, and then they cleared the auditorium out and said, you've got to get out as well. And I said, I'm competing. They said, we need everyone to leave. And I couldn't understand why. They got everyone out and they said, we're charging $50 license fee for the venue. Cash. I didn't have any cash. I'd borrowed $120.
What city was that? Was that in Sydney?
In Sydney.
Yeah.
So they kicked everyone out of the Cronulla Leagues Club.
Yeah, I remember
$50
that.
to come back in. I'm like, I'm competing. I just paid $120. Now it's $50. Yeah. And they were calling it a venue licensing fee. There's so many stories like that, which, just left a really bad taste in a lot of people.
You know the worst one? I don't give a fuck. I can't get cancelled. I don't give a fuck. The worst one was the first Arnold. And this fucking broke me, man. Because they controlled the amateur side of the amateur Arnold here in Melbourne. Arnold's coming to town, everyone's happy. And we had, like, qualifying events around the country. We had a couple of hundred athletes competing in it. And they'd all paid online. You remember this, Simone? They'd all paid they had to join the IFBB first of all, the old IFBB, whatever that was per year. Then they had to pay to do the show. Then those greedy bastards, this is what Jim Mannion never still, they wanted 60% of the entry fee to go to them. So now I'm only getting 40%. I didn't get the membership fee. I'm only getting 40% of the membership. I'm like, okay, I'm paying for the stage, the venue, $600,000 auditorium to put it in, the trophies, the fucking fly the judges in, fly all of them in, all on my dime. Okay, that's, you know what? That's the deal I signed up for. I'll take it. I thought it was unfair, but you know what I mean. If I shake hands, that's done. So they get to the check-ins. They had one person on a computer, like a line of a couple of hundred athletes. It took 7 hours, seven hours, something like that. There was people like literally passing out, lying on the floor, whatever else. Just before it starts, they said it was this guy from England, Bill Tierney, a fucking grub, and he comes out and he says, everyone has to buy an international passport. Well, what the fuck's that? Yeah, it's cash. It was $40.
Yeah. And
no one was allowed to go to that registration table until they bought this little blue book, which they printed up, was a passport. Right, this is on top of the entry fee, on top of the having to join the federation. No, because it's an international show, you need an international passport, and you get a stamp in it, like at an airport, and then you can go and do other international shows. I go, that's cool, if we fucking knew. And I'm ropeable. I'm like, this is not going to happen. I said, no, not on my watch. It's not fair. I said, I'm sorry to the athletes for having to. I'm gutted now because I always do what's right for the athletes. I mean, this is not fucking fair. Like my sense of justice was they weren't told they don't have to pay, and you got to pick your battles. Fuck, I couldn't win that one, man. And I remember Rafael coming in from Spain. You don't tell us how to do it. This is the international way. I go, fair enough, but we should have had it on the fucking internet. Yeah, like when people joined, hey, you need to get an international passport, have $40 ready. And no one was able to handle the same thing. And there was people borrowing money, paid for their tan, their bikini, their trunks. I was gutted, man. Then I got to run a show with this fucking empty, fucking horrible feeling. And of course, you know what they said? It's Tony Doherty's fault. He should have told you.
Yeah.
I was gutted, man. That was the day I thought, I'm going to fucking take over. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to fucking destroy this federation in Australia forever. And not by ever talking about it. This is the first time I've ever talked about it. Not ever mentioning them, but by making a fucking product so good that no one would ever want to go do another show. And I'd say, go and do all the federations and compare it to how I run our shows. I remember saying to you, I said, bro, I was pretty hard on you and Gretchen, and I'm like, bro, we're going to raise the bar. Get me fucking good venues. Let's spend money on lighting. Let's have 5 computers at the weighing thing. And then, you know, Sim and our team designed a check-in system. We did 227 athletes in 440 classes this weekend. Registration took like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and they're in now.
Yeah.
It's just like, geez, that was quick. Well, you've got to pick up your number. Get on the scales, get recorded your height and weight or whatever it is, make your weight, get your number and fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, you've got carving up to do and tanning to do, and the tanning's in the same place. And everything, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I remember that was a real turning point for me. Geez, I couldn't talk to anyone. I'm like, who do I go to? I went to the big boss and he told me to fuck off. He's like, no, that's
what it is.
It's international rules. Fuck.
Yeah, I think you kind of look back though, and from the first show that we did, you had the momentum straight away. Because I think people knew what you were going to do. They knew what your shows were like. They'd been so held back in the other shows with the other federation that the first show was a great start. I mean, first shows were really good. Yeah, better than anything that had been on before.
We had 40, 50 athletes in our first ones because everyone was like, well, wait and see how they go. You know what was funny though? When we did like the production values that we did and, you know, raised the bar with all that sort of stuff, a lot of people said to me, like, God, that happened quick. How did you think all that stuff up? And I'm like, I've been sitting there fucking swirling on this for like the last 15, 20 years. How do I think this stuff up? Because I wanted to do this all along and I was never allowed to because it was never about the athletes or I always said to you, we've got to please the athletes, we've got to entertain the crowd so they want to come back and they leave wanting more. We've got to look after the sponsors so they keep re-signing. Yeah, we've signed more sponsors the last
every year,
2-3 years than ever before. The crowds, probably the most satisfying thing now is when I do my little roaming TD at the start and I go and say, hey, what's your name? What are you doing here? Yeah, half the people say, I'm just here because you guys are running a show. I know it'll be great. I'm not. You haven't got an athlete you support? Nah. I just know it's going to be fun. Yeah. I mean, that's the best, man. We've built an actual fan base for amateur bodybuilding. Right? It's
very unique. And I think when you look at when you walk through the crowd and you have people coming up to you after the show, I mean, I never experienced it before at any federation, people coming up to at the show and saying, man, that was the best show. It was fantastic. And every year it seems to go up and up. Yeah. And I think that the fact that you brought in the, the posing workshops before, the checkout was, seamless. Like before, 1 or 2 hours were done, and the shows run so well on time. It's really just made it a lot more professional. And
well, I think when we brought the seminars and workshops in, it's letting people know, managing their expectations.
Yeah, 100%.
And one, the psychology we've applied to them by saying to people, look, you're not all going to win, but that's not why you compete. Making them love the sport and love the process. And it was really cool this weekend. I've always, when I do my little rave at the start and I get all the athletes there, and, I always say to them, swap numbers with each other because you guys are going to, if you're going to go deep into this sport, your other friends are going to drop off because they don't get it. They think we're weird. This is what we love. So help each other, lift each other up. And, I go all over the world to amateur shows, pro shows. I've not seen a community like we've got here in Australia. No. Man, it's so cool. Like, me and Em were talking about it last night, when the fit model was on, when the men's physique was on, when the classic physique was on. Everyone that wasn't in that overall was side stage, literally clapping and cheering like the audience. It was like, this is so cool. No one's stomping off, oh, fucking should have what. No, every single class, they're there pushing each other and lifting each other up. And to me, that's probably the most satisfying thing of all.
Yeah.
To know that we're probably some of the best in the world at what we do. Yeah. And the athletes love what we've bought because it should have always been that way.
Should have been.
Yeah, but look, we've got a unique skill set with entertainment and raising the bar and everything else. And I think I learned enough from those pro shows to know, you know what, I'm going to get a hotel ballroom or a fucking
Gymnasium.
Cronulla Leagues club or some fucking Sharkies club. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
No. So we, the venues, we do the best we can. The hardest thing is getting them all to line up in that 3 or 4 week period.
Yeah.
But fuck, what a tour, man.
Been a crazy year this year. I mean, this year was next
I mean, the
level.
whole ride's been pretty cool, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd never have thought 20 years ago I'd be sitting here doing a podcast with you talking about what we just talked about.
Right. It's but we did. This is what I guess it's nice to be able to say it. You and I did talk about it for a long, long time. You'd look at me and go, man, imagine if you could get hold of this and do it right. Because you'd find me at the back of the venue just fuming. Oh, it's got to run late, or these athletes have been treated badly, or it just didn't sit well with me.
No, can't.
And there was times when I just wanted to walk. And I thought, once you're gone, you can't come back. No, it's out of the blue and into the black, that old song. But it's like, I've got to hang in here, because if I, quit because it's not right, then there's no more me.
Yeah.
And it won't get fixed. And as much as I hated being a part of that bullshit, I had to hang in there and kind of not defend it, but just give it a minute. And there were so many times we nearly got there.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to get to do this. So when I sort of think about it, and people say, would you do the expo again? I'm like, it was a whole lot of pain for not a whole lot of gain.
Mm.
And when we started doing the bodybuilding, the expos got cancelled. I thought, I can't wait to do that. I'm going to make it. But it's kind of like we climbed the biggest mountain in the world, and it was so fucking good that we can't beat that. I know that we cannot repeat what we did, with Arnold at his prime, doing what we did, filling the plenary theatre with, the first year 5,000 people at a bodybuilding show. They got spoiled, and then all the companies bringing all the influencers and all their heroes and all the, that last one we had like 200 athletes stuck in airports when we got shut down.
Yeah,
and the world changed.
Yeah.
And expos are not the same. I go to them. I still go to them. They're not what they were. So I don't want to come in and do a Temu fucking version of what we did before, because it would suck. And I'm so obsessed with being better every time. So here I am now doing these 3 bodybuilding tours a year, and soon it's going to be 4. I think by 2027 we'll have probably 30 weekends of bodybuilding shows in Australia. That's enough. And people go, are you happy? You're satisfied? And I'll finish my bit by saying this. One of my sayings when people say, are you happy? I'm always happy. I fucking wake up happy. I'm one of those lucky people who've got a sunny disposition most days, but I'm never satisfied, which I think is what always makes a gym, people say, someone's going to open a gym, whatever. I go, fine. Because this won't look like this in 6 months. I've been 30, every time you come here, you go, fuck it.
Evolving.
It's even better.
Yeah.
I'm like, little things. Anyway, I can say this, and I've never said it. This weekend with our pro qualifier, the 2-day show we just did, I actually walked off stage yesterday. One of the first times I said, not only am I happy, I'm fucking satisfied. When we went out for dinner last night, I just sat there and looked at our close team and our volunteers and our judges and my A team and my family, having the kids there and everything. I'm going, you know what? One of the few times I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. And I push myself. My output with all this is nuts. But I'm usually not satisfied. I could have done this, could have done that. Actually, yesterday, one of the first times ever, I was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've just reached a special time where especially with having your family involved, and you've got a great team, and the feedback you're getting from everyone is probably, it's not an international expo kind of thing, but you just change the industry so much here, and the response you're getting from the shows is probably more humbling than any kind of expo that you could do.
Really is satisfying. Anything else you want to say or run through? You good?
No, that's pretty much me, mate. It's my life.
Well, mate, thanks for being just such a loyal fucking friend, supporter. I know we've always had each other's back.
Yeah.
Good times and bad, and private stuff and life. And, it's pretty cool to have, the people that have come along for the ride still to be there. Like the real ones are still here.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've lost a few fuckwits along the way, but as in, they just go away. People who tried to hurt our sport, or people that didn't appreciate, just didn't have a love for the sport. It's funny, Bev Francis has become part of our team, and I remember the first seminar I did with her, and I just did a podcast with her, which has just dropped, and wow, what an incredible woman. But she summed it up best, where she said, bodybuilding's not for everyone.
No.
And I'd say that with promoting bodybuilding, being involved with bodybuilding, being a coach or being an athlete, you have to fucking love it. you just got to love it because it's not normal, it's not mainstream. So
Many people
and it's
understand
not, it's not something where you're going to make millions of dollars out of it. You can, we've learned how to make a living out of our sport because we loved it, but it's because we love it.
Yeah,
I never wanted to do anything else but to be first a bodybuilder, then a gym owner and a promoter.
Yeah.
So I'm living the dream. It sounds cheesy, but I'm like, fucking hell.
You are, yeah.
And just to know that we're doing it well, and to be able to say that without sounding like a dick, like we're really doing it well.
Yeah.
And I know that because the results speak for themselves. And we just had the biggest weekend in Australian bodybuilding history. Bigger than when we had Arnold Expos with amateurs, come from around the world. This is, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I can't wait for next season and the next years to come, mate. It's only going to get better.
Likewise, mate. Can't wait till we're in the same old people's home, just fucking laughing about the ride
stories.
we had, trying to tip each other out of the wheelchairs. No, mate. Honestly, you're going to be a friend for life because more than half my life we've been mates, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate your support. Always there for you, mate, and wish you every success going forward. It's pretty cool just watching your fucking trajectory, John. It's that's humbling, man. Like, fuck, who would have thought, eh?
Yeah, who would have thought, man?
Huh?
Crazy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Big love, mad respect. We're out.